Welcome back to Soft Life Secrets, the podcast where we explore what it really takes to create freedom, fulfillment, and an ease in life. Today, we're sitting down with someone who's lived life on the court and off. A former professional basketball player who's played overseas for many, many years and now is married to a high-profile doctor you may recognize from Married to Medicine. We're going to talk about the grind of professional sports, life in the public eye, and most importantly, the mindset and lessons that led to soft life. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may only know you as a husband from the Married to Medicine spotlight.
Wow, for me, it's always hard to talk about yourself, but life started quite some time ago.
Okay.
I graduated at the University of Missouri, played basketball there on a full scholarship, played 4 years of basketball.
Okay.
And then tore my knee up my junior year, never really healed. So I ended up going to Europe and playing basketball in Europe for about 17 years.
Wow.
All the different countries, the culture, the experiences were fantastic. And came back to Atlanta. Actually, right out of college, when I graduated college, I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And felt that this is where I wanted to be. I mean, Atlanta. Who doesn't want to be in Atlanta?
Atlanta.
And moved here, but each year I would go to Europe and play during the season and then come back to Atlanta in the summertime.
Okay.
And like I said, that was a great experience. All the cultures in between, France, Italy, Spain, Israel, all South America, all the different countries and experiences that I've had. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so what's one fun fact about you that nobody watching TV or following sports would know?
Ooh, one fun fact. That I like to have a good time. I like to keep things upbeat. And, most people who follow, they've seen I'm into classic cars.
Okay.
I do a lot with that. And I play a lot of golf when I can.
Okay.
So those are probably the two hobbies that I have, but I think most people who follow the show, they know that because they kind of featured that a little bit. But I generally like to have a good time.
A good time. Okay, so walk us through your journey to professional basketball. What was the first big moment that made you realize that this is real? I'm a professional.
I grew up in Selma, Alabama. That's a really small town, and for everyone who knows, Selma is pretty historic for the civil rights movement, the march across the bridge and all that. Right. And
did you know Maria Costarfin?
No, I don't know that name.
She was the superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools a while ago.
But she's probably a little younger. Okay. I'm of that older generation now.
I digressed.
I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm up there. So it's interesting because coming out of a small town back in that, back in that area, not a whole lot of guys had an opportunity to go and play major college basketball.
Okay.
I was recruited by a lot of schools and ended up going to the University of Missouri, playing there. And like I said earlier, I tore my knee up my junior year, which kind of derailed things for me because I didn't take the time to let it heal like I should have. I was so interested in getting back and playing. But I think I pretty much realized my sophomore year, had a great sophomore year playing basketball, and I think that's when I realized I had an opportunity to make some money with the game.
So being from Selma, not many people came out of Selma going into the league.
Pretty much going to college.
Okay.
That's known being a major college and being a major athlete in a major college program.
So when you go back now, are you like a hometown celebrity?
I don't get to go back very much, but yeah, everybody knows me and everybody, it's funny when I go back, a lot of people come up and talk to me and I'm trying to figure out who they are, recognize who they are. They know me. They gonna tell me I haven't changed that much. And well, yeah, I have. I mean, back in those days, it was the big afro and all that stuff. But it's always great going back.
Okay.
My mom and dad are no longer alive. They lived there until they passed.
Okay.
So I don't get to go back very often. But I do have some friends that I went to grade school with, and some I graduated in high school with.
Okay.
So I get to see a little bit.
Okay. So what was the hardest part about being a pro athlete? Not the game, but the life off the court.
It's a little different playing basketball in Europe as opposed to playing in the U.S. It's a little different because you're there by yourself.
Okay.
If you're playing in a country like France or like Italy, first of all, you have the language barrier. And I was fortunate enough that I just had this aptitude for learning languages. At one point, I was speaking French, Italian, and Spanish. I kind of taught myself.
Right.
To be able to communicate in all those languages. I'm still pretty fluent in French, but I taught myself to communicate in all those languages. And when you do that, it makes your experience a whole lot better because you're not afraid to get out and travel. And I like being with the people.
Okay.
But you do have a lot of downtime and a lot of lonely time because you're there. Lonely time because you're there. As when I was playing, you were only allowed to have 2 foreigners on each team.
Okay.
Now it's an open where they've got 5, 6, 7, 8 foreigners and 3, 4, 5 Americans playing on each team over there in a lot of the countries. And it was so different then.
Okay.
Because so you were there, and maybe the other foreigner you were playing with was from Yugoslavia or from Russia or some other country that you didn't have a whole lot in common with, except for the basketball. So that in itself made it very difficult, and it was very difficult to have a family at that time too, because you were spending, 8, 9 months over in Europe, 3 months in the U.S., and then going back, and that cycle happened for about 17 years for me. 17
years.
Yes.
So okay, let me ask you this question: were the groupies over there for you like they are here?
Now I don't care where you go on this earth, you're gonna have the groupies. You're gonna have.
What are they like over there? Like the foreign groupies? Like you can see what they're like here, but what are they like over there?
They're a little bit more subdued about coming and approaching you over there as opposed to what you see or what you hear in America. But you do have your fanatic fans. I never forget in France, I played for a team in France, and we would go on the road, play a team, and then from our city, they would send a train load of people from the city that we played in to that game. And then a lot of times when the game was over, we would come back as the players. We would come back on that train.
On the same train.
With the supporters, with the people the fans and all that stuff. And there's some interesting things went on in that train.
Was it more women on the train, or was it?
It was. I don't care where you go. There's always more women than men. I don't care where you go in this world.
So women just outnumber men all over.
All over. I think they do. I mean, especially with all the men being killed in all these wars and everything that's going on. Yeah, women on the world right now.
We run the world. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how did your life change when you married a high-profile doctor? I know she was a doctor to a lot of celebrities before the TV Married to Medicine show came out. I actually went to her for a consultation a couple of times. So.
And you didn't become a real patient of hers?
I was for a while.
Okay, I think this conversation's over. I think I need to go. You didn't stay. All right.
She helped me and a lot of my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
so
good,
yeah, she was a referral.
All right.
Yeah.
And you referred your friends to her?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
all right.
My friends referred me, and then I referred them.
Okay. All right.
She helped me as much as she could.
So we can talk then. Okay. we'll talk. It was the biggest thing I found out that she just didn't belong to me.
Okay.
My wife is a person that really goes the extra mile for her patients.
She does.
And whether you're a celebrity or whether you're a regular working person off the street, she treats them no different than anyone. She takes her time, she answers her questions, and my God, it's like she's always on call.
Right.
And again, regardless you're a celebrity or whether you're working, she's always there making special deliveries. Even when she's not on call, she'll go and deliver patients and all that stuff. So the biggest adjustment was, again, like I said, knowing that it's just not me.
Right.
She kind of belongs not only to all of Atlanta, but a lot of the U.S., to a lot of people throughout the U.S., because she's delivered babies.
Yeah.
People have flown in
Yeah.
to have their pregnancy, to go through their pregnancy with her and deliveries and all that.
Yeah, she has a beautiful soul. She was my biggest thing was I wanted a doctor that had bedside manners. A lot of doctors just do their job.
Yeah.
But she, like you said, she genuinely showed that she cared.
Now, she cares, and we're going to take good care of her, but she's going to tell you
the truth.
The truth.
And that's what
any question
you need
that
to
you
hear.
ask.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so what is it like being on TV regularly?
Fortunate for me, and even from high school and going and playing, college basketball, I had that exposure before.
It was already in
so it wasn't something that just came out of the blue.
Right.
I had, and being in Europe, a lot of our games were televised in Europe and whatnot. So you were kind of in the public's eye
all the time.
So you already knew you had to carry yourself a certain way.
Right.
Now, Married to Medicine is a whole different animal because that delves more into your personal lives and your personal relationships and things like that, which makes it a little bit more challenging.
Right.
At times it gets difficult to go out. If we want to go out and have an evening by ourselves, it kind of gets a little difficult to do because you always want to be gracious to the people who watch and support you. So people always, now is the era of the selfie. Everybody wants, there's no autographs anymore.
Right.
It's always a selfie. Everybody wants to take pictures and whatnot. And that gets a little testy at times.
Yeah.
But
because people don't like no.
No, you can't.
And people don't respect time.
They do not. Well, they really have been nice about it because they ask before, can we have a picture? Can we do this? Now, we're never going to say no, but is it inconvenience or intruding sometimes? Yes, it is.
Right.
But it's the nature of what you do.
Right. So what's the proper way for people to ask? When they, what will be a proper way? What will make you all feel comfortable?
Pretty much, you want to be direct about it.
Right.
If you see us sitting at the table eating at that time, it's probably not the greatest moment to do it. But if we're finished and we're just kind of hanging out a little bit and you want to come up and say, hey, I enjoyed the show. Do you mind taking a picture? To me, that's pretty much the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
My wife and I think we're both very accommodating when people come up. Okay,
so how do you maintain privacy and peace while living in the public eye? Are the films always rolling? Or do you have to,
The thing about it is you're always, and I don't want to say display, but you're always on guard when you're out in the public.
Okay.
Because
you don't know
the world we live in right now, people are always looking for something negative to make a big deal of.
Right.
And not everyone, but you do have that minority that are looking to have a moment. And so you have to be careful and you have to be guarded when it comes to that. To be able to safeguard what you do, it's like you have to go to your home. Once you close those doors, you can let it hang out. Your camera's off, and you can be yourself. You can do whatever you want to because you're in the privacy of your own home.
Okay, I love that. All righty. All right. So, what does soft life looks like for you? Do you know what soft life is?
Help me out with that a little bit.
Soft life. What is soft life? What do you think soft life is?
Soft life is I think it would mean being able to do a lot of the things that you've dreamed of doing, the kind of life that you have that's not as stressful, you're financially secure, you're emotionally secure, but you may have demands on your time and whatnot because of what you do. But for the most part, life is pretty good. It's a soft life. It's not a hard life. It's a soft life.
Okay, so that was a good definition. That was a good one. You made me the first male that I've interviewed that had a good answer. So soft life is really just a life of peace, simplicity, life of ease. It doesn't mean money. It's whatever you choose to be your soft life. Now, money makes it easy for some people, but if you don't have money, you can still live a soft life.
I'm gonna have to say money definitely helps because
Definitely.
you cannot have a soft life. To me, and this is just speaking for myself, you can't have a soft life if you're worried about how to pay that light bill.
Okay.
How to feed the
Right.
kids.
Right.
Having to stress out about having to get up and go to work every day, never having a
Right.
vacation.
Right.
To me,
That's not a soft
that's
life.
not a soft life.
No,
So
that's not a soft
money helps to alleviate
It does.
a lot of that anxiety about those things.
Yeah.
So
Or marrying somebody with money.
that helps too. That I mean, and I think everyone marries with the purpose of bettering themselves and their lives.
Right.
Okay, that's always been a part of it. I think it's becoming even more prevalent today than it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
You think social media has an influence on that?
Oh, absolutely. What you see on social media, it's all about the glitz and the glam.
Glam, right.
And that's not always the truth. A lot of people, when the camera is on or when they're taking a picture, they're always putting their best foot forward. You're not seeing what's happening behind closed doors. You're seeing what they choose to put out in the public. And that's not always accurate.
Okay.
I have to say.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had to look at people and you knew they were a fraud? And you just had to say,
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. How did
Because you
handle
know
that?
some of the background. I mean, you can't tell on them. I mean, you just gotta let them go with their story. I mean,
Okay.
that's their story. That's
their
what they want to
story.
portray about themselves. You sit there and like, hey, you do you. Okay, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna be who I am, how I am.
Right.
And I hope I'm able to do that 100%.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so working with the youth, you still work, you used to coach, right?
I was a coach, basketball coach for about 12 years.
Okay.
I think I coached basketball.
Do you still work with the youth or
I do.
coach on the side?
I'm no longer a coach per se of
Okay.
a high school program anymore.
Okay.
I enjoyed that tremendously. It actually built a program with a school that didn't have a basketball program.
Wow.
Built that in, and we ended up winning 2 state championships in the time that I was there doing that. So I enjoyed that immensely. But since I left education, I have partnered with, in 2000, I can't remember exactly when it was, 2009, 2010, my wife and I kind of adopted 2 African kids. There were 2 African kids here in Atlanta, and a coach called me and said, hey, Coach Berry, there's some kids in a home from Africa, and they really have no guidance. They don't have food to eat. They have nothing. Would you go out there and check on them and see if there's any way you can help them?
Wow.
I drove out, this was out in Conyers, Covington. I drove out there, and true enough, there were about 5 or 6 boys in a house, 16, 17 years old. They were in a house trying to find schools, trying to find basketball programs to get involved in.
Wow.
I ended up, I don't want to say selecting, I think those 2 boys selected me.
You,
And they became a part of our lives. My wife and I got them in school, they became a part of our lives, and they're still a part of our lives up until today. And they're like in their 30s now. But I'm saying that to say, what we always told them, that whatever we do for you, you don't owe us anything. What we want you to do is to give back.
Give back.
To your community, to your country, or give back to other kids as much as possible. And I'm going to kind of try tying this together. And what one of them did was establish a foundation in which he goes back to Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, and he does a basketball camp every spring. And when he put that together, he made sure I was a part of it. So we raise money. We do. We've been doing this for like 6 years now, where we go back and we provide shoes, socks, uniforms, food, everything for these kids for that week of basketball camp. And We have about 200 kids who attend this camp.
Wow.
And we have some sponsors who donate the shoes and all that, and we do different events to raise money. And we actually this past year, built a basketball court in Nigeria for these kids. We were doing it on a school playground. And they weren't the friendliest people in allowing us to come out and do that, and it wasn't in very good shape. So what we did was we raised money and we built like a mini basketball complex.
Okay, do you take any guys from the U.S. over?
Now, we haven't. Now, 2 years ago, Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon went over with us.
Okay.
And spent the week with us, and they were blown away about, first of all, the poverty that exists there in that country, and secondly, what we've been able to do in terms of being able to help those kids every year. For those 200 kids that come to our camp, it's like Christmas.
Yes.
They get stuff, and not only we do the basketball stuff, we get backpacks, school supplies, hygiene stuff for the girls. My wife has actually gone over the last couple of years where she'll do a breakout session and talking to the girls about hygiene and whatnot, and we'll do it with the boys and teach the boys manners and how to treat women and different things like that. So it's a very, very powerful thing that we do. That basketball is a draw, but what we try to do is instill with them the values and manners, or how to be young men and how to really strive and work for a better opportunity.
Wow. So you don't have any affiliation with any of the AAU? Is it AAU?
No, I do not. As a high school basketball coach, that program was just really at odds with being part of a high school program and then the AAU, because they would come in and just want to take your kids from even when you're playing in the state playoff, they want to take your kids and make them go and practice and get ready for the AAU season. And that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth during that time. So
and
no, I do not.
So this is good. This is good because this goes into my next question. So working with the youth then, and you know what's going on now with the youth, with the NIL stuff, how is it with the new change, players getting drafted? How do you feel about that? And the NIL deals, everything that goes with that.
What I think about that is they owe me some money. All right? They didn't have NIL when I was going.
Right.
They weren't allowed to give us anything.
Nothing.
When we were coming through as far as high school and college programs. But I am very, very happy. It's about time. Because these kids bring so much value to the universities that they attend.
But here's where I have to disagree. I agree with the university, the college kids getting paid. I do agree with that. But the high school kids, I think it's teaching, it is creating monsters. Okay. Because in high school, they're getting paid. It's some of them that's getting paid royally. They're getting drafted.
Okay.
What if they don't make it to the league?
What are the parents' responsibilities? Okay, you still have them. Not all kids have a mom and dad in the home, but they at least have a mother.
Right.
Okay. What is that mom's responsibility? To teach them how to be responsible with that money.
Right.
Okay. Not take it from them.
Right.
All right. Use it for your benefit.
Right.
But to make sure that they are responsible and do reasonable things. Okay. Now, why do you go to school? Why do you go to high school?
To get educated.
To get educated to do what?
To college.
To go to college to have a better life, right?
Right.
Why do you go to college? To get a degree to have a better life.
Right.
All right. So that's part of the process. So if you're getting money when you're in high school, that's what high school is teaching them.
Manage some money early.
Now, the unfortunate thing about high schools, you don't get that practical knowledge about how to open a bank account.
Exactly.
Okay, how to shop, how to manage money in general. I mean, they're so worried about arithmetic, math, and science and all that stuff that they don't teach them the basic life skills. And I think that's a big part of what's missing for kids, even in college.
Right.
You don't get that in college either. And that should very well be part of your freshman year.
Right.
And stuff, when you go to college, you pretty much repeat your first year and part of your second year. Repeat what you did in high school.
Right.
So why not take that first year and teach them more practical skills about how to manage their lives and manage money?
Right. A lot
because
of
you're
kids
there
don't
to
even
make
know
money.
How to sign a check.
No.
They don't
No.
even know what to do.
Don't know how to open a bank account. Don't know how to pay a bill. So
Everything's online.
Yes. Well, but even that, teach them how to do that. Now, and again, if the schools aren't going to do it, then I think the parents in the
parents
home
should do it.
have to start doing it. So I could never knock a kid from having an opportunity, and I don't care what level. I don't care if it's in the first grade.
Right.
If you've got an opportunity to use your skills
To make money.
by all means, do it.
Okay.
Because if you are a math whiz or a science whiz and you get money thrown at you, these corporations
For the
come at
spelling
you, what's the difference?
You're right. You're right.
So I can't. So I hope I've changed your mind about that. A little bit anyway. Maybe
I'm
give
on
you
the
something to think
fence.
about. Give you something to think about.
I'm on the
that.
fence.
Yeah.
But I mean, but you understand what I'm saying. They're creating and setting them up. Well, what I've noticed, a lot of the youth, they can't handle rejection. Once they've been given and the door has been open, they don't know how to take no as an answer, or it's not your turn.
But I'd rather they have that opportunity to experience that than not to have anything.
So how do we teach them how to accept rejection?
That is a part of society which has changed because back when I was growing up, if you weren't the best, or if you weren't in first place or the best on the team, you didn't get a participation trophy. Kids now, when they compete,
They get a trophy.
They get a trophy. Everybody on the team gets
get
a
a
trophy,
trophy.
which means everybody on the team was successful. Everybody's on the team is good. Everybody on the team is
Right.
equal. That's not real life.
Okay.
So I think we're probably doing more damage because if you can teach them early on to accept rejection or accept failure, then they'll be better equipped to deal with it as they get older.
Okay.
And that's kind of my take on it.
Now I disagree with you on that because I think the whole team championship. If the guy,
If you're a champion, yes, but are you going to give the runner-up team all trophies too?
no, what I'm saying is some people that have gotten championship rings that didn't even play in the game.
They're part of the team. I get that, but that's on a higher level. I'm talking about when kids are growing up, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
But they teaching them
years
on
old.
how to accept the championship even if they don't play.
Well, but you never get to experience rejection either. If if you're 6, 7 years old and you won a championship, yes, everybody should get a reward.
Okay, because at
I
some
agree
point
with
you
that.
got out there.
Yeah.
We hope.
But should everybody on that runner-up team get an award also?
When they're young, yeah, we reward the kids.
Well, I mean,
we reward the
and
kids.
again, different theory, different
reward the
different
kids.
idea of looking at it.
They may get a little trophy. Maybe get them a medal.
Yeah.
But I think,
Yeah.
as you reward kids to teach them how to,
To continue to work
towards success.
Yes, but you also have to teach them that, okay, I didn't do as well as I could have or as I should have. I didn't win. So
Okay.
why should I get rewarded if I didn't win?
Okay. Do you have kids?
I have a daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, only one. I
Was
have
she
a daughter.
in any sports, athletic?
My daughter played basketball up until about the,
Get out of here.
what was it, 10th grade?
Were you like Joe Jackson? I'm just joking.
Absolutely not. Well, I don't. I mean, I tried to get her involved in tennis
Okay.
and basketball. I took her to play golf with me a few times. And she wasn't doing that, but she wanted to play basketball because some of her friends were out on the basketball court,
Okay.
or playing, would play in school. But she would never work at it in the off season or anything like that. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna put. If you don't want it, I can't make you want it, or I can't make you want to do it because I did it, or you're doing it to make me happy. That was never the case. So when she got to the 10th grade, she's like, I'm done. I ain't doing this no more.
That was good.
And she walked away from it. But she did get involved in modeling. That was her passion. So it was something that she was passionate about. So she did that.
So she did that.
For quite a few years.
Okay. Oh my. Alrighty. So, what's your personal soft life secret for maintaining peace and fulfillment?
At this point in my life, peace and fulfillment is not to stress those small things. And a lot of times, and you know, when my wife and I, we've been together right now, I think 22, 23 years right now. And boy, early on, we used to go at it. Every little thing. If I did this or she did that, but we've learned over time, that's not important. Don't stress those little things that you can like look over.
Right.
All right, and not let it become a big issue, and not keep it all. And another thing too, not to keep, if there are things that are bothering you, not to keep them bottled up on the inside.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation about it. But let's move forward.
Right.
So the biggest thing is for me is having peace, having a companion that you can share and have fun with. Now, I want to tell you this little, my wife and I, we used to have this big thing going back and forth that she would go in a room and never cut the lights off. She would leave those lights off and walk. She would leave the house and that would just make me crazy.
Really?
Yes, yeah. And we went back and forth about this for probably a year. And finally I said, you know what?
Who cares about the light?
Who cares about it? If it's on, just hit the switch, cut it off, and keep it moving.
You know how you fix that? Get the motion sensors.
Yeah. Yes, but that is not always those motion sensors. You know, when you're talking about being in the bathroom, the bedroom, if you ain't moving, those lights goes off. So you kind of gotta have that switch in there. But you know, it got to a point like, hey, you know what? That's not important.
It's not important.
To make a big fuss about. So that's just one of those instances where you'll think, let it go.
Let it go. So, as a man whose wife lives a soft life, and you live a very soft life, what advice will you give to other couples that may be, like, because 22 years is a long time.
It is.
And to be married for 22 years, it takes work. And, you know, I'm engaged, so I need to know
congratulations to you.
I need to know how to make it last 22 years.
It's what we just said. I mean, if you can learn early on not to sweat the little stuff,
right,
you're going to make it a lot, your road is going to be a lot easier going forward than it was for me. Because we had some disagreements.
Right.
But we had to learn, and we had counseling. We went through counseling on a lot of different issues. And we had to learn how to agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
And find things that you have in common with the other person. Because if you don't, then it's going to be a struggle for you guys to really spend time with each other and to become closer with each other, because you're not spending that time, because you're over here doing this, she's over here doing that, and there's very little time in the middle.
Right. That's some good advice. Okay, so if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow. You know, that's kind of hard, because my life's been pretty good. It's been, I've traveled, I've done a lot of the things that I never thought was possible for me to do. I probably would say be more patient.
Okay.
Be more patient with myself and with others.
Okay.
Because looking back, you know, in the beginning of the story, I told you I tore my knee up my junior year in college. And this was in February. I had the surgery 1st of March that I did it. And I came back in October of that same year and started to play my senior year, because I wasn't patient enough to allow it to heal, because I wanted to get out of college. I wanted to get out and make money. And I wanted to get going with my life. And because of that impatience, I didn't heal up, and I probably closed some doors on myself that otherwise could have been open. So that's probably
giving yourself grace.
Yes. What life has taught me about love, success, and peace, that it's all possible. And it's all possible to come together, but you can't take yourself so serious.
Okay.
And you have to allow yourself to fail. You have to allow your partner to fail. And you have to allow each other to be able to pick each other up at those down moments and bring it back together for yourselves.
I like that. Any final words for our listeners?
Yes, follow Miracle.
Oh, tell them.
Follow Miracle.
Miracle, Soft Life Secrets with Miracle.
Follow Soft Life Secrets with Miracle.
On YouTube.
She does a fantastic job. She's on YouTube. And if you're not subscribing, do it today.
Thank you. Y'all heard it from the man himself, Mr. Curtis Berry. Thank you for coming to Soft Life Secrets, and we would love to have you as a guest again in the future.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
All righty. Bye-bye. From the intensity of overseas basketball to navigating life in the public's eye, Curtis Berry gave us lessons not just about success, but about peace, identity, and creating your soft life no matter your past. If this episode inspired you in any way, please share it with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on all social media platforms at Soft Life Secrets with Miracle. Remember, soft life isn't about quitting. It's about shifting your mind, protecting your peace, and stepping fully into the fullness of your own freedom.